Hi, my name is Joshua Etigo, and this is my business leadership final presentation. Next. So my partner and I, Yemi, came up with 6 different objectives that would help us, be a successful business. And our business plan was basically to make profit like any good company, to uphold our core values, to experience and exercise individual growth, to also experience and exercise group growth, have good marketing, and just overall excellence. So at the beginning, in our first slide, this was what our projected sales looked like. So this was our basic business plan. So management theory. So basically, the management theory I chose to do is behavioral management. And what it is that it's an efficient form of organization founded on logic, order, and legitimate authority. And the behavioral management my group follows is Weber's classic bureaucracy, which consists of these 6 steps right here. Next. So my experience as a leader, I was quite a fair and impartial leader, and all authorities and responsibilities were well defined. Rules and procedures are impartial, and authority and responsibles were well defined amongst us. Since our group was just 2 people, since we were a very small group, we had a lot of multitasking between the both of us. There was clear division of labor, and it led to increased productivity and higher efficiency, and that is also known as visible job simplification. Next. So ethics. Ethics basically seeks to help people understand the ethical aspects of decision making and incorporate high ethical standards. So the strategy I chose to focus on is proactive strategy, and it involves meeting economic, legal, ethical, and discretionary responsibilities. Next. So my experience as a leader. The fact that every member in Flourish or Us is from one culture, we do our best not to impose our ethical standards on other cultures. In this, we try our best to sell universal products and adhere to other cultures. As a result, we had more customers buying from Flourish or Us because thanks to our ethical training, we prevented bribery and harassment. That is just through like over familiarity. And in terms of social responsibility, Flourish or Us needed to get involved in community activities, which brings up community engagement. Next one. Also, behavior in Flourish or Us. So, behavior is basically receiving, organizing, and interpreting information from the environment. Me and my partner had different characteristics that made us unique. We had a predisposition to act in a certain way, and all this led to the way the workers in Flourish or Us behaved towards work. Next. So, my experience as a leader. Our perception, personality, and attitude towards our work environment, competitors, and ourselves alter our thoughts and feelings. Consequently, our behavior changes to fit our reality, which improves job satisfaction. So basically what we did going forward is that we had advisory sessions that help employees know their personality traits and balance attitude and behavior. So my experience as a leader, there is unity between workers, loyalty, so there's a better grasp of company goals, which results to increased productivity, where workers in Flourish or Us exert less effort to achieve a goal when they work in a group than when they are alone. So social loafing. Next. So leadership technique. So we have transformational, which is I am inspirational and I arouse extraordinary effort and performance. In accordance with this, I use Hershey's model, which adjusts styles to situations. I try to get things done while sharing information, encouraging participation in decision making, and that's why we have a group chat between my partner and I. So leadership techniques next. So my experience as a leader, different workers require different leadership styles based on their maturity and readiness to follow. Going forward, servant theory. A servant theory based on commitment to serving others, which is in line with the upside down empowerment pyramid. From a Christian perspective, going forward, I believe that this is the right path. So you can see this down here. Traditional leadership and servant leadership. Next. So techniques used for better communication. We employed the space design. It's all about how the distance between people conveys varying intentions in terms of intimacy, openness, status, and interpersonal communications. Next, my experience as a leader. So the attitude I had was basically forget I'm the boss, let's talk. Workers were more and more willing to work when I approached them with forget I'm the boss, let's talk sort of proximity. Being sincere and trying to find out the full meaning of what is really being said. E.g., at the beginning, I didn't actively listen to all the ideas that were suggested by group members, but going forward, I started becoming more of an active listener, and that helped our group. Next slide. So conflict management. So our theory was compromising, and my experience as a leader is that we had a mutually accepted solution, or we had mutually accepted solutions for different issues. So be moderately cooperative and assertive. This suggests that I look for a mutually acceptable solution that satisfies both parties, even when, so for example, when it came to sharing profits, we had to find a way to give my partner and I what we each deserve, because not everybody puts in the same effort. Trying to fully satisfy everyone's concerns by working through differences is how we moved forward, which is collaboration. Next slide. Motivation. So for motivation, we basically used Maslow's hierarchy of needs. All human motivation is based off on fulfilling one of these 5 needs, and people must work their way up the pyramid and fulfill their most basic needs first before they have time to worry about fulfilling their higher needs. Next slide. So my experience as a leader is that people are different, and it's quite difficult to measure. In as much as the Maslow's theory takes into account the needs of human nature, I experienced that people are different, and as a result do not follow the hierarchy in that order. It was also difficult to know the amount of satisfaction one got from each level. Employees could be satisfied through satisfier factors. These factors include job satisfaction, motivation, and performance, because workers have found a motive within the job content. Next slide. Planning and controlling. So we employed strategic and tactical planning as our theory, and it's basically long-term directions for the organization, and the tactical plan that helps implement all parts of the strategic plan. Next slide. So my experience as a leader, next to the strategic planning, we were able to be focused and flexible in terms of who goes to Walmart, who makes the product, who takes orders, and who records sales. So moving forward, we had contingency plans. So we would think of alternative courses of action. For example, we didn't need a blender anymore, and because we didn't have a contingency plan, it became a useless asset. Next slide. So planning tools and techniques. We implemented benchmarking methodology, which is the use of internal and external comparisons to plan for future improvements. Next slide. Also, my experience as a leader, we searched for the best practices from our competitors. So Flores R Us incorporated all these practices, which led to superior performance. And we're able to identify alternative future scenarios and plan to deal with them, because of our idea of cleaning rooms didn't quite work out, and we didn't have an alternate plan. Next slide. So strategic management, it examines our strengths and weaknesses and environmental opportunities and threats. Next slide. So my experience as a leader, it offers insights, and we were able to capitalize on different opportunities based off our strengths, and there were really like no solutions. And so going forward, we implemented Porter's 5 forces model, which is this. All these 4 things contribute to competitive rivalry. Next slide. So the kind of change theory that we implemented was rational persuasion, which is just pursuing change through empirical data and rational arguments. Next slide. So my experience as a leader, people fear change. For example, we wanted to add products to our inventory, and with the help of rational persuasion, I was able to craft my argument to best influence my teammates on the benefits of this new product and change their minds and how they think. And so going forward, persuasion appeals to fear and gives reason not to fear. And so that was really helpful. Next slide. So organizational structure. Obviously, as I said in the beginning of this course, we have a flat organization, which means me and my partner are quite equal, and we use a functional structure. The functional structure groups together people with similar skills who perform similar tasks into formal work units. Next slide. Organizational structure. So my experience as a leader, in this functional structure, manufacturing problems were the responsibility of the VP of marketing and VP of manufacturing and so on. As a result, Flores and Ross were able to gain a competitive advantage and increase productivity. So going forward, we use permanent and temporary cross-functional teams to improve lateral relations, which improves motivation and information sharing. Next slide. So the theory we used in control and management was internal and bureaucratic control. It occurs through self-discipline in fulfilling many responsibilities, sort of external control that influences behavior through authority, policy, procedures, job descriptions, and day-to-day supervision. Next slide. So my experience as a leader, an internal control strategy requires a high degree of trust. When workers are expected to work on their own, exercise self-control, I realized I needed to give them the freedom to do so, so my partner. So going forward, we had clan control, which makes sure people's behavior is consistent with the organization's interests, whereas bureaucratic control emphasizes hierarchy and authority. Clan control influences behavior through norms and expectations set by organizational culture. Next slide. So job design approach. So the job design approach we implemented was job sharing, and it basically splits one job between two or more people for for faster productivity and better work. Next slide. So job design approach. So my experience as a leader, it increases workers' accountability for accomplishments to the CEO. And going forward, we have job enlargement, and job enlargement increases work flexibility. No skills and training is required, and there is a required monotony. Next slide. So role of human resource. It analyzes resource planning, analyzes staffing needs, and identifies actions to fill those needs. Next slide. Role of human resources. My experience as a leader, a strategic HRM helps to focus human resource management, helps to foster a sense of team spirit and mutual trust and friendship within the organization. As Flores and Ross continues to expand, there will be need to recruit more staff in order to increase productivity and flexibility in the company. And yeah, the end is near. Repent to listeners. Thank you.